Alright fellas, Gilbert Burns just faced Michael Morales at UFC Vegas 106, in a fight which appeared as a changing of the guard. Unbeaten rising star Michael Morales was hunting for Burns' top 10 ranked spot, while Burns, he wanted to reaffirm that he's still a challenger after 3 straight losses. Although, after a less than amazing performance from Burns, the question really turns to now, well, what's next for him? Will he fight on, or is retirement on the cards? So let's talk about the fight that was, as well as what's next for the both of them. Just quickly though, if you don't know, my name's Cloister and this is your one-stop shop for everything MMA, so make sure to subscribe and I'll always keep you in the loop. Now, Gilbert Burns has long been a staple of the UFC's welterweight division, known for his explosive power and elite jiu-jitsu. However, at 38, it appeared that the former title contender is now kinda past his prime. He has now lost 3 straight fights, slipping to 8th in the rankings. It's been outclassed by a new generation of rising stars. His recent losses to Bilal Muhammad, Jack Della Maddalena, and Sean Brady highlight his struggles against younger, more dynamic opposition. Burns has now lost 5 of his last 8 bouts, and even his most recent wins against aging veterans like Wonderboy, Magny, and Jorge Masvidal have really done little to truly restore his standing. Now with this fight, Burns had to now face another dangerous up-and-comer in the Ecuadorian prospect Michael Morales. He represents the kind of athletic youthful challenge that has long troubled the Brazilian in recent years. Morales burst onto the scene after a win on Dana White's Contender Series in 2021. He's since racked up 5 straight victories in the UFC. At just 25 years old, Morales brings a lethal combination of knockout power, having finished 12 of his 17 fights by KO, and having the stamina to go the distance when needed. Although Morales is 13 years younger than Burns, he's proven quickly that he belongs at that top level, handling increasingly difficult competition with a lot of poise. While still relatively inexperienced compared to Burns, he came into this 5-round main event as the clear betting favourite, and for good reason. Burns' recent performances suggest that decline, especially when dealing with fighters who push that pace and maintain a high output. While the odds look quite steeped in the favour of Morales, he truly looked well equipped to continue his unbeaten run. And he did exactly that. The fight was pretty quickly over tonight. After a brief exchange of low kicks to start the fight, Michael Morales made a pretty early statement by clipping Burns with a sharp lead hook that forced the veteran to retreat. The rising star followed up with a stiff jab and both men traded heavy right hands in a fiery opening sequence. Notably, Burns looked far more aggressive than in his previous outings, say against Sean Brady, throwing with clear intent to do damage. But the momentum quickly swung in Morales' favour. He surged forwards with a vicious uppercut that visibly rocked Burns, and then smelling blood, Morales unleashed a relentless combination of strikes, forcing Burns to desperately shoot for a takedown. The veteran briefly found some respite with a successful double leg, but Morales was quick to regain control of the fight and return to the feet. Back on the attack, Morales pressed forwards and dropped Burns with a devastating right hand. Though Burns tried to rely on his jiu-jitsu to weather the storm, Morales was relentless. Another punishing flurry sent the Brazilian crashing back to the canvas, and this time the referee had seen enough. Morales secured the biggest win of his career with a dominant and violent finish, signalling his arrival as a true threat in the welterweight division. After such a dominant performance for Morales, we of course look to what's next for the pair. For Morales, it's quite an exciting future, and for Burns, it's quite the opposite. Now, Gilbert Burns finds himself at a career crossroads. He's now riding a 4-fight losing streak and is showing signs of physical decline at 38. His days as a top contender in the welterweight division appear to be behind him. That said, Burns still has name value, fan appeal, and that all-action style that makes him a viable option for fun matchups and veteran showdowns. While Burns hasn't openly discussed retirement, this could be a moment for serious reflection. He's had a solid career, fought for a world title, and remains highly respected. If he feels like his best days are behind him, going out after a valiant performance against a top prospect wouldn't be the worst note to end on. But if he decides not to, I could easily see the UFC giving him another fight. If Michael Chiesa gets through his next fight, a fight against Burns would make sense, as they're both on the latter ends of their careers. Although I don't believe this would happen at all, Burns could consider a move up to middleweight. It's unlikely he'd make a serious run there, but it could give him a second wind with less physical strain, similar to what Anthony Smith did in the past. But what about Morales? Well, he's most likely now cracked the top 10, and he finds himself in an interesting spot as his division is one of the hottest within the comp. Preferably, I would love to see him fight, say, a Prates, as I reckon this would be a fantastic bout. Yet, I don't think it would be completely out of the picture to see him take on another, even more real contender in the likes of Buckley. But with the top of the division really tied up, I would probably expect him to fight someone ranked way closer to him. Potentially, maybe an MVP fight, that would be cool. And I doubt Covington would be next. He wouldn't want that challenge. But overall, Morales has once again shown he's one of the most exciting fighters within the welterweight division. This bout marks a turning point in both fighters' careers. For Burns, it's a tough but telling moment. Another loss that highlights the growing gap between him and the division's rising stars. On the other hand, Morales, he's officially arrived. Him showing his composure, his finishing ability, and poise against a seasoned opponent like Burns showed that he's not just a promising prospect. He's a legitimate contender in the welterweight division. As the welterweight landscape continues to evolve, Morales' emergence injects new life into the division, and I can't wait to see what's next. But now, I want to hear what you think. What did you think of the performance, as well as what's next? Do you reckon Morales' dominance will continue, and what do you think is next for Gilbert Burns? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. It really does a ton to help the channel. Yep, thanks for watching, fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.